I read, let me see if I can even find this story. I read a story on ESPN.com that said, hold on, I can't even try to paraphrase. I gotta find this. Okay. NFL, here's the title. Report. NFL hiring experts to look for gang signs. Huh? Yeah. NFL is hiring guys to review tape for evidence of players flashing on-field gang signs. They've hired experts, gang experts, to come in, look at game tape, and see if these guys are flashing gang signs on the field. League's Vice President of Security, a guy named Milt Alaric, says, quote, there have been some suspected things we've seen. When we see it, we quietly jump on it immediately, directly with the team and the player or employee involved to cease and desist, period. Apparently, during the NBA playoffs this last year, Paul Pierce with the Celtics was fined $25,000 for making a, quote, menacing gesture toward the Atlanta Hawks bench during a game. And people were speculating that this was a gang sign Paul Pierce was throwing up. Paul Pierce at the time says, quote, I 100% do not in any way promote gang violence or anything close to it. I am sorry if it was misinterpreted that way. And so because of this deal with Paul Pierce, the NFL has said, yeah, there's been a few guys in our league we've seen throw some things up. We're not sure what they're doing. They're going to bring in an expert to try to figure out if their players are throwing up gang signs or not. Jaguars receiver Dennis Northcutt says, quote, guys come from all over the country, and who knows what they're really doing. People have got signs for their kids, signs for their fraternities. How do you differentiate who's really throwing up gang signs? This is a gang sign, he said, while touching his index finger to his thumb to form a squished version of the hand sign for OK. Here, I'll do it in the cam right now for you. This right here. This right here. That's a gang sign, Dennis Northcutt says. But at the same time, it's a sign for a personnel group. All right? It's a hand sign that the coaches are using to for a certain personnel group to take the field. And it's also a gang sign. So how are they going to do that? How are they going to differentiate? There are so many signs, little hand signs being flashed on the field. How are you going to differentiate? I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do that. I'm not very well versed in gang signs, but I imagine if there's a guy out there throwing up Bloods and Crips and stuff like that, that we would know. And this whole thing with Paul Pierce, I'm not one to speculate. Yes, I am. I'm not one to speculate technically too much on things, but this is the same guy who got stabbed in the face like 9 times, right, outside of a club. Listen, it could have just been wrong place at the wrong time, but I can tell you that from my experiences, those things only happen to people who consult with people they shouldn't, who hang out in places they shouldn't. Listen, I've been to a lot of bars and clubs in my life, never been stabbed in the face. You know what I mean? A lot of bars and clubs, never once have I been stabbed in the face. So maybe Paul Pierce has got some gang affiliations we don't know about. And he's throwing up signs. It's a possibility. But anyhow, there was enough there to draw attention to all sports, and now the NFL is really, really going to look into it and try to make sure that there are no guys flashing gang signs on the field. I'm gonna take a good look at that, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I've never seen any guy. I've never seen any guys flashing anything that I thought might be a gang sign. I don't know. I guess there's just so many hand signals and things going on in sports that I don't know. I'm just used to. I don't know. That's crazy. All right, we have a little bit of time left. I just want to talk quickly about Michelle Wie, and then I'll get out of here. The only reason I'm talking about this is because it actually happened in my town, about 3 minutes away from my house at Panther Creek golf course. That's where they're playing the LPGA State Farm Classic. It used to be at the Rail, which is up in Sherman, Illinois, which is about 10 or 15 minutes from where I live. Now it is literally right up the road at the Panther Creek golf course. I mean, I come out of my house, I go to the end of the road, I turn right, and I'm going to Panther Creek. It's right there. I'm right by it. And so I feel compelled to talk about this because it was so close to home. Apparently, Michelle Wie, who is easily one of the biggest disappointments in the history of sports, as far as coming in and not being able to live up to the hype. She's a 19-year-old now. She came in as a 16-year-old. So, started playing against the men because she drove the ball incredibly far, but could never really pull off anything notable worth talking about. Hell, she couldn't even beat the women. Well, she was apparently in the midst of one of the best starts of her career here in Springfield at the State Farm Classic, and finishes the first round. I don't know what she's shooting because I don't pay much attention to women's golf. And I think she's right up there, top of the leaderboard, at least first or second or something. I could be wrong, but you don't know either. You're not watching. The only thing that I do know is that because of a small technicality, apparently at the end of the round, when she turned her scorecard in, she didn't sign it. All right? And it says in the rules, apparently, you need to sign your scorecard immediately or you're disqualified for the whole tournament. So after day one, Michelle Wie is off to the best start possibly of her career, right here in Springfield, Illinois, mind you, and forgets to sign her scorecard, disqualified for the whole tournament. Unbelievable. Doesn't she have people watching her? Doesn't she have, caretaker, whatever, people watching her? Handlers? Like, all right, Michelle, sign this, do this. That's a basic minor, somebody has to be on that. And why is that even a rule? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Are you kidding me? Oh, now you're disqualified, you can't play. Like, really? Because she forgot to sign a scorecard? She could have won that tournament. And because she forgot to sign a scorecard, DQ'd. Amazing. So, I'm not even really going anywhere with that. Usually I try to wrap up some good moral message or something in my stories, but I got nothing on that one. I just was like, oh, that's dumb. That's totally dumb. Don't you guys think, that's totally dumb? Change that rule. Just, track her down and say, hey, sign this. Easy. All right.